Hello, Nicola Bernardi. I'm part of the Confident Kids Coaching International team, and I thought I would take you with me for a walk today and answer one of the questions that I'm getting a lot these days. How, as a parent, do I stay calm and focused and clear-minded during these moments where maybe our child's big emotion gets the best of them temporarily, and they are having a hard time following through with instructions, they are maybe having meltdowns, or not temporarily being able to cooperate very well. So it is clear to everyone, I imagine, that it is of no use to, become rigid, yell, use forceful methods. We all understand that. But it is not always clear how to stay away from that, right? How to help this situation move along in a way that is effective without compromising the quality of our relationship with our child through those moments. And you'll hear a lot of advice along the lines of take deep breaths when it comes to how to stay calm and composed during such moments. And while I believe that this is potentially a good advice, I'm a neuroscientist, so I'm all about helping our body stay regulated. I also know from experience that advice alone doesn't quite cut it. Yes, it usually provides some kind of temporary relief. So we buy ourselves those few seconds, which can be useful. But if that is all we do, it doesn't quite move the situation forward. At the end of the day, I would argue that just staying calm is not really the point. That is more of a mean to an end, right? The point of moments like this is for our children to learn how to navigate difficult moments where maybe there are conflicting needs and conflicting desires, and different people want different things, and there are lots of emotions in the air, and how to, navigate situations like this gracefully, strategically. So I think we are aiming for more than just staying calm. We're aiming for a more holistic, more strategic, more loving experience at those moments where our children are maybe struggling. And so, whereas the advice of, take deep breaths, regulate your body is certainly useful, it also leaves out something potentially really important about what those moments are really about. And so I want to give you a little hint of how in the program we work through moments like this. Something that I find helps tremendously is to access, in those moments of challenge, multiple layers of truth. To be able to see reality in more than one dimension. To be able to even hold together in your mind, in your heart, in your body, ideas or notions that may seem like they are competing. Even they may seem they are like opposite. And I want to give you an example. For example, the ability to hold in your mind at the same time the notion of boundary and the notion of connection. If you want to use other words, you could say the notion of limit and the notion of love. They both start with L, so it's going to be easy to remember. So what do I mean when I say hold in your mind, hold in your body at the same time? I mean that if you think about it for a second, these two camps usually take us into different parts of our experience. right? I don't know about you, but when I focus, like right now, on the notion of limit, something in my back immediately kind of straightens, stiffens a little bit, like there is some kind of current that makes me stand a little bit straighter and makes me feel like I have energy in my chest, in my throat. I feel ready, I feel clear, I feel like I have a good sense of what is expected and what is not tolerated, what is right and what is wrong, right? My mind has access to a series of categories, and my body has access to a series of feelings that make me able to operate in a world where a limit has to be set, right? And there is something that is acceptable within that limit, and then there is something that is beyond that limit. By the way, I think I reached the limit of this forest where I can walk without getting into the mud, so I'm going to be turning around. Now, what if I go into the other world, in the other side of this experience, the notion, for example, of connection or of love? Well, it immediately changes. I am right now, as I'm even talking to you, I'm becoming a different person right now. I feel my shoulders are more relaxed. I'm feeling a little bit less intensely straight, and I'm feeling a little bit like more leaning. There is a sense of softness and movement in my upper body, and my mind contemplates notions of, I wonder how she's feeling. I wonder what this moment is like for her. I wonder what she needs. So there is a sense of curiosity, there is a sense of perspective taking, and there is a sense of compassion in that I wonder how she's doing, right? It's not a purely surgical questioning. It's a feeling with the other person. And all of this turns on in my mind and in my body as I focus on the notion of connection. Now, the magic is when you can turn on these two sets of experiences simultaneously. Now, that just has a broadening effect on the kind of person you become, and regulation in that moment becomes not just a matter of I'm not losing my SHIT, becomes a matter of I am tuned into this situation with its multiple competing needs, and I can negotiate that complexity. I can dance with what's happening. I can be creative, resourceful, and flexible enough to, at the same time, acknowledge that certain things will not happen in this household. Let's imagine hitting or being ridiculously late for things, while at the same time, there is also a limit to my limit, in the sense that I am also prioritizing connection, that is, doing this with this person that I love so much, and whose dignity, whose point of view, whose love for I will not step over, right? And now your mind will enter a state of creativity, a state of wondering, of pondering, of seeing solutions that are outside of each of the two boxes, the boxes of limit or the boxes of connection, and that kind of gravitate around the intersection of the two, which effectively creates a whole new dimension. And I would argue this is the dimension, this ability to hold as true both of these ideas, both of these emotions, both of these energies. That is the intention we want to pursue, not just for ourselves in the sense of staying calm, but also for our child. That is how we would hope that they will direct themselves. At the end of the day, I don't want my child to be on time or not hit other person while in his own mind he's running a commentary about him being a failure. I suck at this, I'm always getting it wrong, I can't do this right, I should just freeze shut down everything. That's not what I want them to be doing, even though the outside of it might look the correct kind of compliance I'm looking for. But I am, as a parent, looking for them to be whole, right? And that includes having a narrative where they can empower themselves to respect certain limits. That is, to connect with themselves and acknowledge and work through these often competing layers of experience. So for you to be able to turn on that appreciation of both dimensions is a gift that you are providing for them, in terms of them being able to see what it smells like, see what it feels like to be with somebody, in this case you, who can do that. And so if you can do that, you are going to find yourself doing things in a way that will surprise you and will surprise maybe your child as well. And I look forward to hear from you. What are going to be some of these surprises? All right, I look forward to hear from you about some of the discoveries that this will help you make. And if you want more of this, we have this kind of conversations every week for the people who are in the program. And we can, of course, go a lot deeper into the specifics of the situation and see how they apply to you and to those moments with your child. What is beautiful about this work is that it not only applies to parenting, but really it applies to all areas of my life. I find myself turning on these sets of opposite layers of truth in so many areas of my life. So as always, working on our parenting takes us to the next level in all areas of our life. So looking forward to do some of that work with you. Bye.